Singapore is a globalized city, known for its spectacular skylines and wide expanse of greenery and nature. Shady trees to keep me cool, butterflies fluttering and birds chirping. This is what it means to be living in a city in nature.
And this is a result of several decades of dedicated greening and conservation efforts.
Really? We've been doing this for so long?
Oh yes, let me share more as we explore some of our green spaces today. To begin, we need to go way back in time. Prior to the arrival of Sir Stamford Raffles in Singapore in 1819, primeval Singapore was covered with tropical forests, freshwater swamp forests, and mangroves. But by the 1900s, more than 90% of forests were cleared mainly for agriculture. The government of the time tried to conserve some patches of forests, but many of these efforts did not have a lasting impact. Most areas designated as forest reserves were replaced by plantations, leaving only small reserves scattered across the island.
So what was the turning point? When we decided to transform Singapore into a garden city?
You're right. In the 1960s, the Garden City vision, introduced by our founding Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, was integrated into Singapore's national development plans, a big step in our greening journey. The main goal was to green up the island quickly to provide shade and green spaces for everyone. And from the 1970s, we also started planting trees annually as a community.
So that's how the annual tree planting day started. I love that this tradition still continues today. Wow, check out this view of a beautiful city. That right there is one of the highlights of Mount Faber Park.
Did you know that Mount Faber Park is one of the oldest parks in Singapore? Besides planting trees, we also created more parks, many of which are still around today.
And these parks are connected via the Park Connector network, right?
Yup! As we intensified our greenery, we extended this green network to connect more people to major parks and gardens over the years. Today, we have over 360 kilometers of park connectors across Singapore. At the same time, we continued to conserve our natural habitats and biodiversity. Did you know that we have 4 nature reserves in Singapore today?
Yes, and I'm standing in one right now, the Bukit Timah Nature Reserve.
These nature reserves are our core biodiversity areas, containing some of our last primary rainforests, as well as rare mangrove and coastal habitats that provide homes for our native plants and animals.
That's why it's so important to ensure our core biodiversity areas are conserved.
And we didn't stop there. This momentum of greening Singapore and conserving its natural spaces further intensified as we evolved further into a city in a garden.
A city in a garden. I can see that. We're living in an urban landscape, but there's greenery everywhere I look.
Oh, that's the idea. We wanted to create an immersive cityscape that is full of nature and natural features for a closer connection with nature.
Won't this be challenging, since we need to manage many competing needs in a small island and in the face of climate change?
Indeed. But our next phase of urban planning aims to mitigate this
By becoming a city in nature.
Yes, as part of the Singapore Green Plan 2030, which aims to create a green, livable and sustainable Singapore, City in Nature builds on what we have achieved so far and aims to restore and further integrate nature into our city. Firstly, by extending our natural capital and adding more nature parks. These nature parks buffer the nature reserves, providing more space for nature-based recreation while minimizing the disturbance to core biodiversity areas. They also provide more habitats for our plants and animals beyond the nature reserves. Secondly, we are intensifying nature in our urban landscape so that Singaporeans can benefit from being even closer to nature. This includes developing gardens and parks with more natural elements.
Such as nature play gardens and therapeutic gardens?
Yes, those areas are specially designed for visitors to immerse in nature, enabling them to enjoy benefits to health and well-being. We are also intensifying greenery along our roads with nature ways. These are multi-tiered planting that mimic the natural forest structures, which cool the environment and provide pedestrians with shaded spaces to walk. They also serve as roads for animals too.
So that's why I'm seeing more birds and butterflies on my walks home.
Exactly! Our nature ways and park connectors strengthen the connectivity of our green spaces so that wildlife can move about without leaving the safety of green cover.
I myself enjoy walks in the comfort of the tree shade too.
Then you can look forward to even more park connectors and nature ways. The aim is for all households to be within a 10-minute walk from a park by 2030 and for every road to one day become a nature way.
Great! I'm looking forward to that. I'm also amazed by the long journey we took to get here.
A long journey indeed. Our city in nature vision would not be possible without the contributions from many stakeholders and the community over the past decades.
I'm so geared up after learning about these greening efforts. How can I be a part of this journey?
There are many ways you can get involved. It can be as simple as planting a tree under the 1 Million Trees movement, which aims to intensify greening efforts by planting 1 million more trees across the island. You can also join other initiatives such as Community in Nature, which aims to conserve Singapore's natural heritage through citizen science programs.
I'm definitely signing myself up for these. All right, I'm off to explore more of our city in nature. Bye!